following program is a production of Ozarks Public Television.
Relax as you go down the Buffalo River in this program titled Thomas Hart Benton, From the Ozarks and Beyond. Paul Wannenmacher, writer and producer. Growing up in Neosho, Missouri gave Thomas Hart Benton a unique perspective in his walk into the art world of Chicago, Paris, and New York.
I really got a pretty good ripple down below here. Shoal on the left and a snag in the middle. A little back. Pretty good one.
As Mr. Benton returned to the Midwest, Thomas was often in the Ozarks he admired. Floating the Buffalo River were times of special joy. His paintings flowed, much like the river, often smooth. At other times, conflict.
There's a rock down here in the middle of the channel. Look out for the rock there, Bill. Well, we made it out all right.
This presentation of Thomas Hart Benton, From the Ozarks and Beyond, is a gift from Newton County, Missouri, and has been graciously underwritten by Empire District Electric Company. Empire District Electric Company has served customers in the four-state area with electricity since 1909 and proudly supports this documentary of Thomas Hart Benton, From the Ozarks and Beyond. Thomas Hart Benton was born April 15, 1889, in Neosho, Missouri. Thomas was born into a political family named after his great-uncle, U.S. Missouri Senator Thomas Hart Benton. At age 7, Thomas's father, Colonel M.E. Benton, was elected to represent the Southwest Missouri Ozarks as their congressman. Young Thomas now had his time split between Washington, D.C. and the Ozarks. During these formative years, Benton developed his first sense of art.
In Neosho, Missouri, Tom did his very first mural at the age of 8 years old. His parents' house there had just been re-wallpapered, and Tom took a piece of charcoal, and going up this new cream-colored wallpaper, Tom drew a large train on the staircase landing. And apparently it was pretty good. It had a lot of smoke coming out. It looked like he was climbing up a hill. But Tom said it wasn't appreciated and said that was his first encounter with art critics.
And clashes with art critics followed Mr. Benton throughout his career. Typed an American regionalist along with fellow artists Grant Wood and John Stewart Curry, Benton responded to this in his autobiography, An American in Art.
Regional and provincial were made synonymous for our cases. Old European comparisons of the backward provincial and the progressive metropolitan were hauled off their dusty sacks to ridicule us. We came in the popular mind to represent homegrown grassroots artistry, which damned foreign influence and knew nothing about and cared nothing for the traditions of art as cultivated city snobs, dudes, and aesthetes knew them. A play was written and a stage erected for us. Grant Wood became the typical Iowa small-towner, John Curry the typical Kansas farmer, and I just an Ozarks hillbilly. We accepted our roles.
The influence on Benton's style of flowing and dimensional work came out of classic Europe. While in art training in Paris, Benton studied the art masters, including the Spanish painter El Greco. During World War I, Benton served in the U.S. Navy in Norfolk, Virginia. At this time, Benton sketched during off-duty time the sailors and ships that were around him. The realism of these sketches was the return of Tom to Renaissance period art.
The only thing that impressed me about my years with Tom was his ability to draw. Because while he made distort things for design's sake, his drawing where he was wanting to record a gun or record something was masterful. And that's one of the things that I feel like I played a part in Tom's later work, because I draw well. And Tom always felt that I drew well. And so when we would go together on an exploration, and he would make beautiful drawings, very lifelike, very colorful, because he knew that I was good at it and he wanted to be better than me.
Mr. Benton's depth of work is broad, having had a career that spanned over 50 years. Let's take a few moments and look at one painting that hangs at the College of the Ozarks. The Departure of the Joads was completed in 1940. The art was utilized for John Steinbeck's Grapes of Wrath book cover and movie produced by 20th Century Fox.
When I look at the clay models, which he did first before he did the drawings, he did them in clay, of each one of the characters that he had read about in Steinbeck's novel. And by the way, I knew Steinbeck. He would make a clay model first of a picture that had come into his mind, and then a drawing that he did from the clay model. And then the motion picture company would take that drawing and that clay model and find some actor who looked like that. And that's who they employed for the film Grapes of Wrath.
The original hangs in the Ralph Foster Museum at the College of the Ozarks near Branson, Missouri. It was donated to the school by Thomas Hart Benton in 1975. Benton frequented the campus often during his treks through the Ozarks. Other sketches and lithographs are also on display at the Foster Museum. As you see, the work of Thomas Hart Benton reflects a social history of his times and a tremendous amount of discipline to detail. Someone who could shed light on this is Charles Banks Wilson, a noted muralist painter and described by Thomas Hart Benton as the finest artist historian. Their friendship began in 1936.
Well, I think Tom probably was America's greatest cartoonist, because I really feel that much of his design and much of his style of drawing is based on his early day interest in cartooning. I think as a young man he wanted to be a cartoonist, and I think he was. But he also was a great painter because he parlayed the design of the cartoon that's so popular in everyone's home into great painting. And his painting flow, as he was able to remove his, what I want to say, important designs into serious painting. But one of the interesting things I found about Tom was when he established a design, he put it together very much like a mathematician would be. In other words, every time you add 2 and 2, it makes 4. And so consequently, if he did a painting and he did it in the way that he felt it should be done, then that he was 2 and 2 still makes 4. And I think that was explained better by the fact that he had done a drawing, a painting, finished painting of his daughter and her son. He never did like it. So when he went back to Martha's Vineyard, he took that painting with him to redo it. And when he brought back the new one to show me what he had done from the old one, they were identical. Because 2 and 2 makes 4, whether he's in Martha's Vineyard or back in New York, in Kansas City.
Mr. Benton's design and flow is fabulously portrayed as the mural Mr. Benton painted in 1936 for the state of Missouri and hangs in the Missouri State Capitol in Jefferson City, Missouri.